64 people are now known to have died in a massive fire at a shopping centre in the Siberian city of km². Many of the victims are children. Nearly 300 firefighters battled to contain the blaze. As Andrew Plant reports, the fire broke out in the winter cherry mall while it was packed with Sunday shoppers.
A fire on the 4th floor, this shopping centre surrounded by firefighters searching for survivors, trying to reach upper floor windows, fighting the smoke billowing outside. The fire started here on Sunday. Dozens were evacuated, but it was clear dozens more were missing, many of them children.
The area of the fire is about 1,500 square metres. At this moment, 288 emergency officers are working on site, as well as 62 units of equipment and an airborne grouping are taking part in the search and rescue operation. We are taking all necessary measures to extinguish the fire. The shopping centre has a very complex construction. There is a lot of combustible materials.
People gathered to stand and stare as the fire unfolded. Witnesses said it trapped people on the upper floors and said some had jumped from windows to try to escape from the flames. An industrial city of more than 500,000, it is one of Russia's biggest coal-producing regions, more than 2,000 kilometres east of Moscow. Already there are reports the fire began near a cinema and children's entertainment centre. President Putin has already sent his condolences to friends and family of the victims. Authorities say a criminal investigation will now begin to try to find out what caused the fire. Andrew Plant, BBC News.
Let's go over to Paul Adams in Moscow. And Paul, terrible events, the number of dead dramatically rising over the course of the last few hours.
The Russian president has accepted the resignation of the governor of the km² region over last Sunday's shopping centre tragedy. The blaze killed 64 people, 41 of them children. Here's a recap of that day.
Где наш папа? Данил, выходим к машине, побежали.
У меня жена увидела, что женщина какая-то с выпученными глазами бежит, молча причем. Никакой пожарной сигнализации вообще не было.
Она мне звонила в 11 минут 5 последний раз. Сказала, что я не могу выйти. Передай всем, что я их любила. Передай маме, что я их любила, и все.
Так, мужики, сейчас точно задохнемся.
Я видел только людей, которые, родители, которые хотели забежать в зимнюю вишню, и их не пускали, плакали все прям черные от этого угарного газа. Было страшно.
There was no alarm, no siren, no sprinklers. The whole fire prevention system was off. Fire exits blocked. People inside this shopping mall were left on their own to find out about the beginning inferno by the thick stench in their nose. This shopping mall used to be a confectionery, and in fact it conducted fire drills just last week. So a lot of very grave and outrageous flaws missed in those drills, and so the investigation is looking into how this horror became possible. Vladimir Putin, who landed here in km² early in the morning, and he has already laid flowers at the vigil and talked to some of the citizens to comfort them over their loss.
Народу просто хочет, чтобы наказали.
Так и будет. Значит, мы с вами не будем делать вот таких выводов. Вот прямо сейчас назначать виновных. Но вот эти 100 человек следователей отработают по полной программе. Это точно. Даже не сомневаюсь.
3 days on since the tragedy, the families of the first 22 victims have said their last goodbyes to their loved ones with burial ceremonies. As the nation mourns the victim, the investigation is working to hold those to blame for the catastrophe accountable. Right now, investigators are looking into the mixture of factors. First and foremost, the alarm, the sirens did not go off when the fire began. Neither did the water sprinklers, if they were there in the first place. And the fire exits were locked, so people, when they followed the designated paths to safety, they found themselves at the doors that were shut. Also, the staff of the mall reportedly was untrained how to handle an emergency like this. At least 23 victims have been identified so far out of the total of 64. It is taking a long time because sometimes the identification is only possible through a DNA test. So badly the bodies are burnt. The process is going 24/7, but still we are being told that it could take as long as 3 weeks to identify everyone.
Igor Zhidanov there. Well, among the many tragic stories is that of a group of 11-year-old girls from a village near the city. They travelled to the regional capital with their teacher to celebrate the beginning of the spring holidays and also watch a movie. When the fire broke out, they all reportedly found themselves locked inside the cinema. The girls tried to call their families and posted messages on social media. None of them survived. Well, RT spoke to some of those who knew them.
They were such good girls, quiet, calm, joyful. They studied really well. It is such a tragedy for everyone.
There are almost no children of this age left in our village. There aren't many children here. Only our granddaughter Zina is alive. She didn't go, and also 3 boys. But no one else, their age, is left in the village.
People across the globe have been joining Russia to mourn the victims of the deadly blaze. Vigils have been held in more than 30 countries, with people bringing candles and also toys. But in the Russian city of km², anger has been running high. Shortly after the tragedy, authorities in the city were confronted by crowds of victims' relatives and locals. The demonstrators were demanding the truth from the officials, with rumours circulating that the death toll could be as high as 300. These claims, though, were rejected by the investigation committee and later by protesters too.
Это наша площадь, я за нее налоги плачу и деньги. Наказанные люди, то зачем туда, естественно, приехали там, козлов обучения наказать, 3-4 людей. А мое мнение, виновато все правительство.
Молодой человек, вы что, хотите попьяниться на горе?
На каком горе? У меня вся семья погибла. У меня погибла. У вас должен губернатор сказать, жена, можете ковырять, Сергей, 3 детей, 7-5 бабок.
Они меня не пропускали. Я сказала, у меня там дети в кинозале находятся. Они стали меня выталкивать и сказали, там нет никого. Я просила, я молила, я пожарников просила, они стояли, ухмылялись.
Я говорю, где моя дочь? По телефону с ней разговаривал. Она кричала, я здесь, папа здесь. Я говорю, ложись на пол, дыши. Держи, не умирай. Скажите, во сколько? Число назовите. 64. Какие 64?
300 билетов было продано в кинотеатре. Все места забиты. Никем не опровергайте, что залы были закрыты. А теперь даже ребенок может посчитать, сколько было трупов в этих залах.
Тихо! Пожалуйста, кто? Дайте человеку сказать. Посмотрите на нее. Ей 12 лет. На сегодня производится... Народ этого ждет. Народ выбирал вас. Он распировал. Я становлюсь на колени перед этими людьми. Да не надо. Тихо. Я хочу попросить... Не-не-не.